recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talking nonsense, but the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing is that is our, so our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just get one more try, life could be much sweeter. The country we analyze just what was the problem. Yes, we start making very positive moves to solve them. We fire the old set of managers we had working, and it's a new group we went and we bring in. And if the goods we require, them new managers not supplying. When election time come back wrong, it's new ones we bring in. But if it's one thing about my people, I could guarantee that they would never ever put party before country. And now the country facing is darkest hour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, you have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter.
Yesterday, of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, South, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Yes, it is so nice. I think I better do it twice. We can make it if we try.
When the treasury was full and happy time, some was enjoying. It's in over and laugh until poor people was living. Now the treasury flat and the country come back to square one. Poor people remain on the same old ghetto injunction. But to get the economy return today on some footing, it's the same poor people 10 days and cola they're taking. And without social unrest, poor people paying the price, because they know for the country nothing too much to sacrifice. And if the country facing its darkest hour, so our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could make it if we try, just a little harder. If we just give one more try, life would be much sweeter.
Yes, indeed, of course, tonight's program is designed to tell all and sundry that we have a duty and responsibility to Trinidad and Tobago, and that, of course, all hands are on deck. Don't bother with the platitudes and the self-righteous indignationness of course, Penelope Beckles, a recent, of course, born again. Didn't know what was happening in the previous PNM, and suddenly wants to absolve, want to cleanse, want to engage in a catharsis that clearly is nestled in hypocrisy. It is impossible for Penelope Beckles and the bunch of miscreants that she has either put together or has been associated with her to absolve themselves of the iniquity, the punishment, the evil and the wickedness that they have perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago before the 28th of April 2025. Yes, this year. Let us not waste time. I know that you're looking, of course, at the background, but yeah, we want to, of course, engage in a lot of news material. Yours truly, of course, will be reading the news during the course of the program. But I just say, let me put it on tonight to sort of demonstrate the flexibility and the versatility of the corridor transformation. The number is the same, 337-6940. But of course, this is serious times. And we have, of course, to demonstrate by our programming and by our dedication and commitment that that is in fact so. Yes, indeed. Gosh. All right, let's go straight to the line. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor transformation. Right, let me see. Getting a. Something wrong here. Let me see. Just something. Wait a minute, corridor. Just a minute. Let me see what's happening. Wait. I'm getting a little challenge here. I'm not hearing you clearly. Repeat what you said. Oh boy, I'm getting a challenge here with the boy. Let me just check something here. Just so I want to get every syllable, I want to get every word that you would have said. Audio, let me see audio. Let me just make sure that everything is up and running. What are we doing it? Definition. Wow. Why am I getting? I'm not getting, of course, you very clearly at all. Desktop audio 2. Speaker. Let me see what's going on. Go ahead now, caller.
You hear me?
Let me hear.
You hearing me?
Boy, still getting a challenge here.
All
right, you have to do. Call back. Let me see if I can fix that, and then of course we will pursue, because I want to make sure that you are heard clearly, and I'm not getting.
All right, I'll call you back in about 5 minutes.
Yeah. Call back in 10 minutes time. I'll just see if I can fix that.
All right.
Yeah. Okay then. Thanks very much for your consideration. Oh boy, another one is calling. Caller, just hold on. We have a little audio problem here that I want to solve. So as soon as I give the signal, I know that you are hearing me, but I don't think they'll be able to hear you. Let me see. Sorry about that, people, but you know Murphy's Law, when something has to go wrong, it will at the worst possible time. And this is just one of those occasions. But that is how it is at times. I wonder if, let me see, just a minute. Boy. All right. Audio. Let me see. Speaker. What if it's, no, okay, virtual cable, no, it can't be that one. I'll be this. All right. If you call in now, let's see if we would have remedied that situation. And I see that something is playing in the background. Let me make sure that that is off. Right, that is off, right? Okay. All right, so the only issue, right, let's see. All right, let's see now. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the
Good
corridor.
night. Lennox, you hear me?
Right, it seems as though we have it.
Lennox.
Go ahead, caller. All right, let me just check something. I'll have to take off myself and check behind and see what is happening behind the camera. So I'll have to, of course, just enjoy, of course, the scenery and the studio that we'll be using. Lord. I wonder if I go. Let me go. All right, let me see if I can start back some music, and then, of course, we will see what is happening. Okay, let's get the system. Let's see.
So the treasury broke and they say that we set up jamming. So no foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel like I
just calling out. Let's see if we have solved that problem. All right, then let's go straight to the line. Let's go straight to the line. Take off the music. Let's go straight to the line and see what has happened.
Yeah, hello.
Yes. Got it. I have you now clearly. Go ahead, my friend. Make your contribution.
Yeah. You hear me?
Loud and clear now, man. Loud and clear.
But hear what's going on my side.
On your side, what?
I'm getting back. I call on my phone too. But anyhow, I'll continue talking because you're hearing me.
Yes, go ahead and talk. You are a professional one.
Yeah, what's going on? I getting you on the YouTube, and I getting you on Facebook. I don't know what causing that.
All right, yeah, what happened? Just log into Corridor Transformation and just and that's it. It should take you there right now because that is what I'm watching right now.
All right, but anyhow, as on the phone, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I send you, Mikey and Andy, a video from this guy from Fishermen and Friends.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know if you watch it, but I put some writing on it.
Okay.
Because that what I'm showing you is very dangerous to the whole nation. And
Okay.
and I now understand why Palarat, the minister was vexed with them people and them in EMA and them people, like they wasn't working, boy.
Okay.
Even see this oil spill only killing fish and all kind of thing, and all in Charamas and all kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah, I send you the video.
All right,
I send
okay.
Mikey, I send it for you too.
Thank you very much. I'll take a look at it later. I'll see where it is, so I'll do that. All right? Thanks very much.
Yeah, I talk about it all on the ground report.
Oh, yes, I certainly will. All right? Thanks very much for your contribution and that piece of information. Yes.
So we patriotism, for we country facing, it's that is our. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, give ever your.
But let's go straight to the line, of course. We have to go back to, of course, the traditional. You know, there's a tune called Back to Basic. Well, of course, we are back to basic. Let's put the phone to the mic and hear what this caller has to say. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night, boy.
Good night to you, my friend.
You hear me good?
Loud and clear.
Right. When you and she win, everybody win.
Yes, man.
We done win 2 victory already.
Yes.
No property tax, we had to pay that. And what the other one? You can't interfere with me pension.
Yes, man. Yes, sir. Let me tell this caller. Hold on, caller. We have another person on the, what I consider the handset. All right? Hold on.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Tagarigua.
Yeah, so we done scored 2 victories already.
Yes.
Right? No property tax, and they can't interfere with me pension.
That's right.
Right now, we have 3 major objectives to see about. The European and Petro train, the Cuba Hospital, and the DVA campus. If you all that distraction, we carry Abul and them in the Gulf with derelict vehicle and all that thing.
Yeah.
They had 10 years to tell Rory about that. The man like a jackass in the water if you see him. So he waited now to come and talk about that. I told them all vote when they leave dinner.
Oh, I see, yes. The graveyard that they have just off our coast there. Yeah. One in fact is in the Port of Spain Harbor or just off Sealats as well. Yeah. Go ahead.
Breaking up in little pieces and eat it. So we eat and we don't have money for that. Kamala have 3 main objectives as we just talked. Petro train to reopen, the DVA campus, and the Cuba Children Hospital. Where we have all that money, they fix that if you want. You had 10 years to talk about that.
I hear you.
Keep attacking Kamala, not so?
I hear you. Yes.
And they have this other place in town, they say they have you went city hall and protest, but they have pigeon and rat in the place.
I see.
All of us are just so the 10 years they couldn't talk about that. I hear with my suggestion to them, if they all want to get them 2 spirosis, all of them could put up $20 a higher company to spray the place.
I hear you.
Money to waste for them thing.
Leptospirosis would be, of course, the consumption by a human being of rat feces. Yeah, okay.
Right? So, all of us know that we had time with that Lennox. The Prime Minister done state priorities already. Them coming with all this stupidness, so we ain't going to deal with that. Nothing must distract the government from what they're doing. You agree?
I hear you, my friend. I mean, you are monofocus and you have on blinders. It's one way towards progress. Yes, I agree with you. All right.
We
Thanks. We have another caller.
Well, we got talk.
Yes, thanks. Yes. Go ahead, caller. President
Lennox,
yes, go
Professor
ahead.
Lennox, this is Diego Martin in the house.
Oh, yes, Diego Martin. Go ahead. Long time no hear from.
I was taking a little rest. Three issues I want to address quickly.
Go ahead.
PNM deflection.
Right.
First of all, the directors on state board didn't want to exit and resign.
Right.
And you know what have come into my mind? Apparently, they don't want us to find out who bought all the tickets for Balize. Which state board buy the raffle ticket that Fitzy and KCR was selling outside some mall somewhere? Because they said Fitzy has repurposed himself in the PNM. He's going to be the chief raffle seller, all right, of tickets. So to finish the Balize out. The second issue is they're making a set of noise, rumbling about. They call it the stand your ground laws. The last time KCR uttered about that, he said give them a blind, let them come in and take the Zabaka. I wanted to know if I have a Zabaka on my table inside my house, what should I do when they come in? I following my leader, I emptying the market on them. The second thing is, Penny and Sense, the leader of the PNM, asking for consultation.
Yeah.
I want to tell her, she have to take a pause, go back into the PNM manual, see how Manning addressed it.
Right.
She should invite all the criminals to some meeting in some hotel somewhere. She from the east have it in the east. And talk to all the criminals and tell them behave themselves.
Yeah.
So that we will not empty our matic on them. So that is the consultation she must have with the community leaders that her former boss identified already and spent money to eat and dine with them.
Right.
So that's two. The third issue, deflect and distract. Who is in the PNM is talking to Maduro? Tell them Trinidad is being used as a port to invade them. The closest persons or person that I can identify will do something like that is the author of the email gate, the Angel Gabriel from the south. Well, not from the south, from the west. Those are the people who, they always want to come up with some kind of lie, some sort of distraction. And I believe Maduro and the PNM hierarchy coming up with some sort of lying again to deflect and to basically interfere with the governance of the country, to make it ungovernable. Because remember the last time KCR said he's not going to do anything with the Kamala partnership government until they leave office. He's not cooperated. And he's not cooperating again. He wanted to destabilize the government, but he cooperated with Maduro to come with all kind of fancy things.
Right.
You understand? And I started to think outside the box because there's some with some dotish utterances. You just want to know who, because I know they don't have no bright person here.
Yeah.
By the way, the former Attorney General, WPC Camille Balmati, has she applied for the Commissioner of Police job? I feel she should apply for that too. And is she going ahead with a threat to sue the current Prime Minister for $4 million? Because I know she can't go there. But remember, she said a pre-action protocol for $4 million. I want to know if she's going ahead with that.
That would have been an incident with, of course, the former Minister of Planet. Is that or is another one? Robertson Regis.
Yeah, well, I called she WPC Balmati.
Oh, I see. That's called she WPC Balmati.
Right.
I hear you. I just want to make sure that we are thinking along the same line.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
Yes.
Later.
Thank you very much, my friend. Well, of course, a very, very, very significant, of course, developments as far as the last caller and the issues that would have been raised. Because, yes, so we saw, the most despicable display of self-aggrandizement and attempt, of course, to obfuscate responsibility, and at the same time, for what they did in the past. That is the responsibility I'm talking about. And during, of course, and before the 28th of April. But more significantly, we saw the gaslighting at its worst by, of course, Al-Rari. Imagine he has the audacity, the temerity, the gall, the effrontery, and the bold-facedness to tell us that, listen, watch yourself, CPEP, watch yourself, URP, they're coming for all you. But I want to tell him, he could jump high, he could jump low, and he could, of course, blow all of his dog whistles to try to protect and to generate some kind of sympathy because of the inevitable blue lights and silver bracelet that he may perceive. But the fact of the matter is that those persons who would have been put there by the PNM and therefore political appointees have to go. As simple as that. All the dog whistle and all the old talk you're talking, Al-Rari, you better be worried. Al-Rari, you better be worried. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night or welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Uncle Lennox, and all your listeners. And share the live. Tell one, tell the others.
Yes, man.
We need the 40,000 in all sundry.
Yes, man.
So we will take it in cash if you can't tune in. If you work in the night shift, you can donate a little $5.
I hear you.
So, Uncle Lennox, I would like to use your media to congratulate my esteemed political leader and Prime Minister, the Honorable Ms. Kamala Bissessa, SC, on getting award and recognition for the true human being and patriot she is, and what she stands for and what she lived for as a leader and a servant of the people. So, anything else after that? I would like to say good night to my Member of Parliament and Minister of Finance. So you hear him? Finding ants now. You have to find it. So the question I would like to ask, since Camille and Faris and Marvin and Foster is still there, and plus Penny, I want to ask Kyotiong that the gas revenue deals on them, because two oil companies announced they find large amount of gas and oil, and I want you, Uncle Lex, to correct it, because Kyotiong say till 2026, one will come on stream, and hopefully if they find it. And on their program, I said that is proven reserve, and is just going back to get a next set. So we want to know all the years, what was the true output and the revenue stream, and where all our money going on. Uncle Lennox are using the media to ask the question as a citizen of this country. Kyotiong say he's a citizen. So just as he's a citizen, I am a citizen. My great-grandmother came from India. My grandfather born on the Lucknow estate. He made 4 children with his wife. One happened to be my parent. So I is the 3rd generation of an Indian born in Trinidad. So I am a citizen with close planted roots. So I asked Kyotiong, right? And I want Penny to answer this question now. Is it that we are sovereign state? Is it that our leader, the prime minister, is in charge? And when all they had a dictator and a tyrant ruling all, and all they could not fart clearly or belch clearly, or had to stifle it or sneeze, or they had to shut up. So now, just imagine all making all this stuff a big fool as educated leaders of this country. I say that with no apology. Because if you speculated and you people from the serve the people and just limit office because the people reject all you. And I now see why. Because the merit points, all they're doing it, all the lying, still lying, and trying to mislead the people and the citizens that the merit points save life. Which part of the corner when I TH pack up and I smooth tire? Which part of the highway you see the warden and them? All the stop talking stupidness. And then you're talking about gun license. I want to ask Uncle Lennox. His program is to take children out and youths out of the crime situation. You see on the news that I set our numbers. Who gave them the gun? The Wild Wild West. Penny, what all it did to curb those young men and them doing the Wild Wild West while all was ruling for 10 years. What all was doing, and just the other day, the people in South couldn't come out their own door because it was the Wild Wild West. Who issued fire for them? Where the consultation? Where? So if all want something to look good, Penny, you just have to go by the cheapest store and buy some makeup and put on and you might look good. And because Faris is putting a little powder and exercise, and he now as a man in office, he can't look at the hair properly. He outgrow his clothes. So I feel he outgrow his shoes and all too. Uncle Lennox, have a good night.
I hear you, my friend. I hear you, my friend. Of course, a very hilarious presentation, but very, of course, what I consider to be sarcastic and at the same time demonstrating the contempt that the population has for these individuals who are now, of course, suddenly they know about policies, they know about programs, and they know they are even prophesying that something will not work. For example, the stand your ground legislation, they ain't see it yet, you know, but they are speculating. They are, of course, engaged in what is clearly called conjecture. And of course, all Kamala Prasad, Misesa, the UNC and the coalition are doing is laughing at them, making themselves, of course, total and absolute buffoons. But I want to also, of course, join with the Caribbean, Trinidad and Tobago, in, of course, congratulating the Prime Minister for that award that she got. And of course, among them, don't feel it's a fluke award or a simple award. There were other people that were in the mix, in the matrix. It was, of course, the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Prime Minister of Barbados, who, of course, have been making the rounds since she came into government. And she has been, of course, a spokesperson for, of course, climate change and, of course, what is considered to be SID countries, small island developing states, in their battle, of course, to curb global warming, and, of course, the sea rise as a consequence of the melting of the ice glaciers on both sides of the pole, the North Pole and the South Pole, and therefore the greenhouse effect is truly, of course, a reality that could cause, of course, islands to be submerged. But let me just say, of course, congratulations once again to Kamala Prasad Misesa, the People's Choice Caribbean Global Leader 2025. Let's go straight to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor
A
Yes, good night.
pleasant good night, Lennox.
Yes, man.
Oh, you're looking sharp, so like you know, win an award yourself too.
well, I'm hoping that if if good looks and of course sharp apparel would win an award, I want to make sure that I'm in the lineup.
Well, definitely you will be getting one of that, huh?
I hear
Don't
you,
worry
my friend.
yourself.
I hear you. I
You
hear
will,
you.
you will get that.
All right.
Yeah. So how you going? How you going, my
Well, of
partner?
course, I am very, very optimistic. I'm very upbeat, enthusiastic, and of course, in a state of what I consider to be dynamism, because I see a lot of hope on the horizon. I see a lot of positives on the horizon, and I see that Trinidad and Tobago really, for the first time in a long while, has the potential to go places that they ought to have been long before. You see, Trinidad and Tobago, as far as I'm concerned, ought to have been the Singapore of the West or the Dubai of the West. But because of the intervention of a myopic, mono-focused, and backward, archaic, Jurassic group of individuals found themselves, of course, in an organization that is a criminal enterprise called the PNM, have been there for too long. We must do something about that. And the people did so, of course, on the 28th of April, and will continue to do so as we move along and leave them behind. Go ahead, my friend.
Yes, Lennox. So I definitely concur with you just said. Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you watch the panel, which is the opposition panel, I swear a 4-year-old and a 5-year-old can make up that panel, the opposition, you know.
Yeah,
And look what they say when you ask them,
out of their depth,
they can't come up with no positive ideas. They're only looking to piggyback and say, well, we don't want the gun law, we want the numeric points. Oh, that is only that's what we doing forward. But them ain't want to do that. Them only want to talk about them. That is all they're talking about. They want to talk nothing good. They say, well, the country could go forward. Let me get together as an opposition and say, well, let's get the people working, get the country moving. Yeah, let's talk about different things that happening that they falter, that they could fix. But they ain't gonna do that. We have man, one of them is a cold pot man. The next one, he ain't wanted to eat macaroni pie on our weekend. So what is the really want? Them only want to hold back the country. You know what I mean by Lennox? You should know that when we in class and it have a student only holding back the whole class from going forward. That is what that means, you know. If you really look at it.
Well, in their case, they could attempt that. But people are monofocused, and we are inexorably going forward, leaving them behind, because such students normally would fail their exam and, of course, be relegated to a level that if they had paid attention to their work, they would have been, of course, in a different place. And usually, they regret it. But go ahead.
Yes, so what I'm saying is about time that we decide to move forward, sir. And just lead them, we have to eradicate them off the face of the political world as we know.
Yes.
And just, I realize now, while looking at them, I mean, I'm just saying, I see them in Parliament channel, and I watched to see what is the what is the opposition? It has no opposition. It's better that they give some. I give it he think as opposition and give it at them, because what strength them have? Because in both and to answer some questions, but both when that time reach, they asking for that $2 billion that they have come for yet, and saying it's computer glitch and what is workers in put it in the books and all kind of things. We don't want to hear that. We want to know where the money gone. You understand, Lennox?
Yes,
So
yes,
I will
yes.
listen up here, but I have to call you off here.
Okay.
All right?
No problem,
So
my
good things
friend.
happening.
All
Right.
right, okay, but I
All
keep him,
right, Lennox.
I keep him my fingers crossed. I keep him my fingers crossed, but I'm not holding my breath. Eh?
Yes, keep
All
it
right,
crossed.
okay. All right, good. Because I can last a little longer by keeping it crossed, but I ain't holding my breath. I hear you, my friend.
All right, my friend. We'll
Yes,
talk.
my friend. Yes, man. Yes, indeed. But of course, the caller made a lot of sense in that, of course, here you have, of course, a set of producers of mediocrity. Under the Rowley Stuart Young temporary, as it was, PNM administration, we saw the institutionalization of mediocrity, not meritocracy, mediocrity. And they look for the worst, whether it be as an attorney general who take over 8 years to do a 4-year course, or indeed a fellow who was, of course, classified as a outright and unadulterated mendacious individual. In other words, a total liar. I'm talking about Limo. Sorry, I mean Amo. But he has disappeared, of course. Obviously, there is no more, of course, free ride for them, having regard to the mediocrity and their poor performance when they were put to the acid test. And the acid test, of course, is being given, of course, all of the, what I consider to be the perks and the legality of the office that they would have been given and hold, including Rowley, who himself was supposed to be, as Prime Minister, a giver of office or a person who would have designated persons to be. And we saw that due diligence went out the window. That people were totally misfits. They were, in fact, what is called charlatans, quacks in public office. And what we are seeing is an amalgamation of the same, more of the same, in the present, of course, a form of the opposition, led by, of course, Penelope Beckles, claiming somehow that to be a woman is some kind of major achievement. Well, major achievement, according to her, by being a woman, but not, of course, demonstrating or making reference to the fact of ability, and therefore the mediocrity continues. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Good night, Lennox.
Good night, my friend. Good night to you.
Your song echoing, man. I don't know if it might be going.
Yes, man. Thank you very much. I had the song buoyant because I'm extremely optimistic. So I had to be like a boy, you know, those boys that you see in the waters, guiding ships, etc., or being, let's say, lighted to shine for boats to be guided properly, etc. Well, yes, I'm feeling buoyant. Go ahead, my friend.
You look like a brand new coin, man.
Aye. Well, even that is commendation and consistent with what, with how I feel. Yes.
Already, let's get up to
Yes.
Anyway, good night, everybody on the chat.
Yes.
Lennox, question is, the Auditor General, all these money are missing with input on while doing his office. Is there any headway or any with that or something is not adding up?
Well, I'll tell you this. Let me just tell you off the cuff because people have asked that question already. You see, I want to tell people be patient. I want to tell people be tolerant. I want to tell people that it is impossible, in other words, for the government of the day not to be focused on these matters. What is the big difference as opposed to the last administration? They were extremely garrulous, talkative. Every opportunity to promote themselves as being, of course, acting in the interest of the people. They talk loud, when in fact the opposite was consistently the case. This government, however, remained extremely silent on matters of that nature, because you can't tell me that they're not working on it. You can't tell me that they have a Attorney General like John Jeremy, who has a reputation, of course, for treating with matters like these, and have him there just, of course, on standby or waiting in the in the wings to take action. No. Action is being taken. Your common sense will tell you that. And the government, when they of course generated their gaslighting like Al-Rari, you see, because aggression is the best form of defense for people like them, who of course are guilty like hell. So he's trying to bring in URP, he's trying to bring in CPEP and telling them, listen, you all are targeted. But the fact of the matter is, he is referring to people who were political appointees by the PNM. So it's obvious that they have to go. They know that too. That is no news to them. But of course, he will continue to try try his best to try to attract attention. He's prepared to grovel. He's prepared to be condescending and at the same time promoting his own agenda to try to deflect attention. But they are working, rest assured. That's my answer to your direct question of whether or not these matters are being attended to. It's obvious. It is impossible for them not to be attending to them. But they have a different approach. They are not going to be loud. They are not going to be, of course, what I consider to be letting the cat out the bag, etc. Go ahead.
Lennox, I don't mean to say that they should bring it out right now. I know they have to do an investigation. It takes some time.
That's right.
I understand that, but I just asked the question. If I know they're working on it, I understand it.
Okay.
Right, but they have to get solid evidence. In other words, to carry out what they have.
That takes time, but they are definitely
by their
silence. They are not talking about it, and therefore people are getting, of course, concerned as to whether or
not. They got to trace the money. They got to trace the money where it went to,
of course,
and who it went to.
Of course, and in the fullness of time, you guys, it's just a month. Right. They are there.
It takes you a little while because remember these things that take time because they hide that very like I know things that go on, but
yeah. But you notice, why I mentioned Al-Rari is because you notice they're trying to extract, they're trying to pull a response. They're trying to get the government to focus on their agenda because they want to know, they're anxious, they Bamsi palpitating, they are in a state of anxiety. Why it is that the government is not talking? But notice they're avoiding, of course, things like Vincent Nelson and things like, of course, Brent Thomas and the fake oil matter. Notice that they ain't talking that, but they will talk things like, of course, trying to be sympathetic to CPEP and URP and so on, so as to garner that kind of sympathy. So they're hoping that the people are going to be violent against the government. That is what that is all about. But we are very, very conscious of that kind of what I consider to be archaic, Jurassic, and obsolete strategy that has not worked and caused them to be, of course, only 13 in the 13th parliament of the country. Go ahead.
Yeah, but Lennox, because all that money was in the revenue when Kamala made office when PNM take over.
Yes.
So they have to trace all that money where they went to.
That's right. It will take time, but the government is not talking, and therefore the PNM side is feeling anxious. Why it is they're not talking? But notice they're not saying that. Not one of them would say they have absolved themselves from all of the iniquities and the accusations of what I just spoke of. Notice that they ain't touching that at all. But they're hoping from utilizing talk like European CPEP and so on. Poor people they're utilizing. They are exploiting it, in fact, in order to hope that the government will come out and talk, and then of course they will get an idea as to where they stand, because I'm sure some of them are waiting to get out of the country as to where they could be exiled themselves. But none of that. We will have none. It's a small world. It's a globalized world, and wherever they go, nonetheless, we'll catch them, but we want to catch them like the thief in the night, by surprise. Clearly.
Yeah, but all this old talk, all this old with Awari and Petty Beckel about merit point and the property tax and all that distraction, in Lennox. To make your mind full of
attempt to distract, because you can't tell me that
to bring your mind off the citizenry of what it is really happening.
Right.
But this thing here is a serious matter, Mr. Lennox.
Yes. Well, the government is facilitating them. It means, therefore, that the government strategy is working. If they are allowed to try to distract, then the government strategy is working. They don't want any focus on what they're doing. And when, of course, when they least expect it, and then it punks on them, and next thing we know is blue lights and silver bracelet, and that would engulf them. So, well done, Kamala Prasad Misesa, the UNC, and the Coalition of Interests for being able to cover up, or should I say, be incognito, being in disguise, so that the population and they themselves will not be able to know exactly what they are doing with respect to these matters that must be dealt with. Must be dealt with. You had to be a fool not to understand that these matters must be dealt with. And to anybody suggesting that it ain't happening and that is another run of the mill and nothing ain't going to happen, I think they are living in a fool's paradise.
But the country is bankrupt.
Well, yes, of course.
The country is actually bankrupt. If you have no money in the treasury or the money to run the country, you just depend on taxpayers and people who pay in money for this and that in order to run the country.
Yes.
That's what it is.
Yes, that's what they are doing now. Of course, Imsbert, without any what I consider to be moral, ethical, or intellectual position in terms of his qualification. They try, of course, at the last press conference to give some kind of rationality that is every quarter they just collect, and therefore at a certain point in time, and because they came into office in April, there will be less money, and therefore it would appear that, of course, there is no money. All the kind of hogwash. We had time with that. In fact, they went as far as to say that, of course, this points system, this, of course, based on the traffic rules and laws, are talking about the demerit points. They say that, of course, that could help you save accidents that have been recently taken place on the nation's roads. Well, I mean, it is so asinine, it is so dotish that when these accidents occur, firstly, it is usually when the police is not on duty, whether it be speed trap or etc., not on duty. And nobody is going to speed if the police is present. So that's the first thing. Well, the second thing is how the hell the merit points causing people to speed. I don't understand it.
No, I told us. Lennox, don't let them fool you. That's only a business. I'll give you an example. Give me one chance a little bit. Let me tell you something. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the United States.
Yeah.
Right now I'm walking. As I speak, I am driving a big 18-wheeler tractor trailer.
Right.
As we speak, and I'm talking to you right now. I'm driving and talking.
Right, you're driving and talking. Go ahead.
Okay. Let me tell you something. If you get a ticket for speeding, you get points on your license. 1 or 2 points. Depends on how serious the crime is. Right?
Right.
You pay the ticket, but that thing remain on your license for 3 years. It comes off after 3 years.
Right.
And your life became clean. Right?
Right.
And you pay a fine. Whatever, how much fine? $100 something, $200, depending.
Right.
Yeah, dangerous driving, reckless driving.
Right.
But they don't take a put a merit point that you have to go and pay this money and go to classes and things. Like I said to you, it depends on what the crime is and what situation is. Now, if you kill somebody, that's a different story. You charge him for manslaughter.
Right.
In an accident.
Right.
Depends who is at fault. You see, so that's how it works.
Yeah. But
this merit point is just a scheme and a money-making business. That's all it is.
But the point I am making here is that how does that stop a driver from...
No, that don't stop a driver from
speeding and
making an accident. I get killed.
Yeah, if you get if you get a ticket, it's because some officer was on duty. But usually these accidents take place when there's no officer on duty at a certain time in the night, and in no way you can associate demerit points with, of course, maybe the increase in accidents on the nation's road. There's no way. How are you doing that? Because there's nobody to give you a ticket. The only time you can get demerit, as you rightly said, somebody had to be there to give you a ticket. But if there's nobody there, how the hell demerit points will save you from, of course, life if you decide, in the absence of any supervision or monitoring, that you take the chance. And
but
then, of course,
that
lose
can't
your
cause
life.
no.
Yeah. So
That can't cause no accident or.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. There's
something like that. Anyway.
Nonsense. Yeah.
I mean, let me come up lining somebody and get a chance. Yes.
I love talking with you.
Yeah.
You know, I love talking with you. And thanks for all the assistance in the past.
Well, I'll give you something for,
Go ahead.
All right.
Yes, okay. Yes, indeed, people. I mean, it's total madness. Of course, I have my colleague with me, has come to be a staple on the program. I'm talking about our resident businessman. We have quite a lot of things to talk about, frankly, because we have an initiative on Friday. And there are several developments that has taken place. You wouldn't believe. Let me just get the letter here. It only came today. Of course, a letter from the president of the country, Mrs. Christine C. Kangaloo, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. You see, we don't make joke, first and foremost. We're very serious in terms of the development of our young people in particular, and those who have the potential to engage or, in fact, engage in crime and criminality. But more importantly, we have a wider society or wider community to treat with, where we must find, of course, the resources and the networking and the narrative and the actions and the activities to have them be contributing positively to the society, our developing country, the Republic, the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. And so, 7 years ago, we made an intervention with about 7 young men at the time to engage in business, because we say that if they are in Port of Spain, East Port of Spain in particular, and while they are associated, of course, with social issues that are of a negative nature, the subterranean culture, as the sociologists would like to say, the fact of the matter is that in Port of Spain, because of the fact that it is Port of Spain and there is a lot of people who would visit the Port of Spain in and out, that people should be able to do business and be successful at business. And so 7 years ago, 2019, we engaged these young people, 7 businesses, as a pilot initiative, frankly, because we want to replicate it in other parts of the country, demonstrating that these people can, in fact, if you provide the right conditions, that they will, of course, conform, and that they will be, of course, upright and decent as well as contributing citizens. It means therefore that if they're in business, you're talking about employment creation as well. Quite apart from, of course, they themselves being able to put food on their tables, are talking about, of course, the entrepreneurs and the owners of these businesses. But of course, unfortunately, in the case of Trinidad and Tobago, COVID came in 2020. And of course, devastated most of the businesses because they were more entertainment or quasi-entertainment. They have food, and of course, entertainment. And all of that was shut down in 2020. The result, of course, especially for those who had to pay rent, was that they would have been devastated. In fact, one of them have closed down at the corner of George and Prince Street as a consequence of the confluence of such inhospitable conditions. And so, this week, because it started on the 2nd of June 2019, so this week would have been, of course, we're celebrating seven years. So we invited, of course, the president to come and share with us what we are doing and what we have been doing, and to see, of course, these businesses. And hopefully, of course, she could make some kind of recommendation to, of course, augment, support, and provide a sort of lifeline to these businesses. And I say lifeline because I know how the struggle is, but they remain steadfast in spite of their difficulties. So what we did, we penned a letter to the president. She caused a response to be delivered this morning at, of course, one of the shakers and movers business just across the road from here on George Street. I just want to read for you what it says. And it said, of course, the office of the president, Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, of course, June 3rd. So it was when? It was 3 days ago. Today is the 6th. Sorry. Today is the 4th. So it was yesterday, sorry. It was of course, written yesterday. Today is the 4th of June. And this is what it said. Mr. Dana Gabriel, president of the George and Nelson Street Youth Improvement Committee, George Street Community Center, of course, 69 to 81 George Street, Port of Spain. I said as follows, dear Mr. Gabriel, I have been directed by Her Excellency Christine C. Kangaloo, ORTT, President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated May 27, 2025, in which you invited Her Excellency to tour your community-focused human capacity building and, of course, youth business unit facilities. On Friday, the June 6, 2025, at number 55 George Street, where we are here, Port of Spain, at 10:30 a.m. Yes, so Friday coming, we are talking about. Her Excellency, thank you for extending this very kind invitation to her. However, Her Excellency will not be able will not be in the country, so you understand that, of course, in other words, you can interpret it that if she was in the country, she would have been here. But she will not be in the country on the date of the tour and is unable to attend. Her Excellency asks that her very best wishes for a successful event be conveyed. Sincerely, Winnis Joseph, Executive Secretary. So we received this about let's say about 10 o'clock or a bit earlier this morning from a member of the Protective Services, clearly a detail from the President's office to, of course, convey. The person to whom it was directed had to sign a presidential delivery book and all of that. But with this letter, I was not I was not fazed. I always believe that there are many ways, of course, to skin a goat, so to speak. Not that the president is a goat, and that the situation is a goat. I'm just saying, I'm using, of course, figurative language to emphasize that we must not give up. And as I've told you from time immemorial, that the existential philosophy says that if you're born in poverty, it doesn't mean that you have to live, grow and dead in poverty as well, because you're a human being and you must rise out of the morass and the decadence and the circumstance you would have found yourself in as a human being, because the human spirit is boundless. So, what has happened? It dawned on us that, wait now, if the president will be out of the country, then somebody who is very close to us, well known to us, will be acting as president if she goes out. And that is, of course, Wade Mack, who is the president of the Senate. And therefore, of course, while this might have been, of course, disappointing, we were very optimistic that, of course, we will still have, of course, a visit by the acting president instead of the sitting president. So we made and took action to effect that fact by communicating with, of course, the current president of the Senate, who will, when the president is out of the jurisdiction or out of the country, he or she takes over as, of course, acting president in her or his absence. Well, I did communicate tonight, but we run into another snag, and that is, while we, of course, and I sent, of course, a copy of this as well as the original invitation to Her Worship or Her Excellency. I will read that another time for you. We have a copy of it here, so you'll get an appreciation as to what we have been trying to do over the years. But he said just around that time, they will be sworn in. He will be sworn in as president, but just around the time when we designated the time at 10:30. So we found ourselves back to square one in terms of not having someone. Of course, he was very firm that he will and he is willing to, of course, visit, but it cannot be on Friday. I still wasn't daunted. I had, of course, a discussion with a particular minister tonight, earlier when I had to leave the compound, and I will be massaging it a bit so that he will, of course, be present here to, of course, share with us our 7th anniversary of this initiative. Because it is significant for us for more ways and more reasons than one. But of course, I'm not going to give you all of the details why we want to, and insisted that such individuals come. And let me tell you something. I was prepared, of course, to communicate with the British High Commissioner to tell that person, come, whosoever you are. But of course, I knew that it would not have been good sense to give them a letter today for them to come on Friday, 2 days or a day away. That didn't make sense. So you need not bother with that, but of course, but that will be something in the future. So we are still optimistic that we're going to get, of course, what we are looking for on Friday. If not, well, of course, there are other times in quick succession. The acting to be president, Sir Wade Mack, has said that he's prepared, of course, to come on another occasion. So maybe we'll be able to treat with that matter. So that is where we are at. But I'm saying all of that to say that we're not making joke. That's the point I'm making. And therefore, to have people like these responding to you in such short notice tells you that they too recognize what we are doing, because we are we are, in fact, addressing an issue that none of them could address, but which the society is concerned about. And therefore, in such circumstances, we have to find ways and means to get these people here and to see and to smell and to hear and to, of course, feel and experience the tragedy because of a lack of opportunities and deliberate neglect of communities like these. And bet your bottom dollar, we will succeed. Not shall, we will succeed. So we catch one now, we'll catch them later down the road. The circumstance clearly is impossible. We can't ask the woman to be two places at the same time. If she is to be abroad, she can't be in the country at the same time. And if at the same time when we want them to be here, there is this handing over, formalization, where the sitting president of the Senate will be converted, let's say, to the president of the country according to the constitution of this country. So we have to say, well, all right, we have to find other ways and means to treat with this matter. But to get them here, we will get it, because this demonstrates that there's a willingness, just that circumstance. And as the kind of fella that if you're mama guying, I wait until you come back and invite you again to another situation for me to be certain that you're avoiding us, or you are really sincere that because you have to go abroad but you would like to be here, you are unable so to do because you are only human. I thought it was important, of course, to share that with you so you understand the seriousness. And as I told someone today, I told the minister who I would like to come on Friday, I told him in conversation that I'm prepared to work for free for the UNC. But no amount of money the PNM could have paid me to assist them, because they are intrinsically and enveloped and saturated with evil, a bunch of criminals, opportunistic political parasites who have morphed themselves into a criminal enterprise called the PNM. Pelru Beckles could talk from now until the devil retreat from hell. That will be their portion. They must be relegated to the dustbin of political history. Pleasant good night, my friend. And of course, I know that some of it will be good news for you, because as you would have been a beneficiary of this exercise. But all is not lost. There are other opportunities and places. Oh boy, sorry about that, but we have to go to the line. That's how the cookie crumbles from time to time. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
The program on tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, asking if the program on tonight.
Well, we are on right now. You're talking to the program, in the program, and with the program. Okay. Yes.
Because I'm not getting anything on my
side. My
side.
goodness. All right. I had to send that link, but I ain't test that link yet. So I'll do it for you. But if you want to make a contribution, go ahead. Blindly make a contribution. Because you can't see, right? But we can't see you either, but we know that the millions are seeing us across the globe.
No, but the thing is, my contribution was last night where I was talking about Heinz.
Oh, I see. Okay, right. Well, beautiful. Well noted and well taken.
I didn't get any news yet if he is arrested or anything. So I waited.
All right. Of course, I just want to tell you, a Dickie Bird whispered to me that all is not done, and just wait and see. That is what I was told. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
Yes. All right. Go ahead, my friend.
Yeah. Good night to my leader of love, Lennox Smith. Good night to my Honorable Prime Minister Kamala Bissessa and the Ministry of all ministers, and Good night to Trinidad and Tobago. And good night to all who listen out there in the world and taking in this program, because this is about helping people, you know what I mean, and making sure things in the right prospect and to make people live a better life. So today I was feeling so happy to knowing that, you know, my my business might get a look at, though the president honorable president will be here, you know, so I will really, things will be looking after in me, because I personally, I'm not going against my leader. I'm not going against what he said just now. But to me personal, it was a rush for me to know something could have been done to help me in certain way, because I've been crying out in a technical way, because I'm a businessman and I live at my business and I rent at my business. So it was a kind of difficult thing to knowing then at the moment things are working out how it's supposed to be, because I was looking out to go a different milestone with this. You know, so Mr. Wayne Mack, I know through the campaign I see me and he spoke some couple times together, because I campaigned and he was out there in the field. We talked, we exchanged certain ideas and things. You know me, Ricky Taylor. You know me very good. We speak properly. I was looking to see him personal, to know, and then as he is taking a portfolio until the president come back, he will feel for the poor people on the ground. Also, the president, if she was here, she will feel the pain for the poor people on the ground who need the assistance. And well, as my leader say, no, there is a test, and he put certain things on the and in writing for we to get his support as business people in Prince Street and George Street, to feel and they could excel the business in the right way. Because I know my landlord, she watching at me in a different way, because at the ending of the day, I telling she about X, Y, Z, maybe so I'll get a change about certain things in the business. I can forward certain things to her. So, because I don't want to lose the business as a businessman who trying to see if we can excel in Port of Spain. Because I would like to excel, but it has so much things in the society we keeping me back from excelling, and you know, then through the COVID and everything, things kind of break down in a way where it's only a businessman can feel that pain. Because when you have a little money and you put it out and you see it, then it just going to a different thing. You have bills to pay, you have things to do, and you have rent to pay, and you know, things ain't happening how it's supposed to happen. Sales slow down, because you know it's in the traffic flow in town how it's supposed to be. So the business reaches a certain standard. So I just asking the leaders out there to see if they could I write to the Minister of Finance already in the PNM time, and you know, nothing ever reached nowhere. So for certain assistance and certain things never reached nowhere. So I still put my heart out to knowing that the assessment is very needed, quick and fast, you know, because as I tell you, I live nowhere. I live in the business. If my landlord say X, Y, Z, I had to expedite, I had to expedite, you know, because I had to move out with my children and my companion and see if I could, cause finance is a problem right now. So I talking and I pleading through this program for certain heads and people to understand what I really saying as a business, and not I alone going through the problem. The other business going through the problem. The other business going through the problem, so I could come out and talk on my behalf, and maybe to talk on other people's behalf too. My leader will get the right information and really try to see if we could extradite it to certain people out there so they could understand. So if a minister coming up here and he under the leadership, he coming by himself or somebody send him, so I don't know if he could come to extradite this my problem and see it to be benefit, so he could help me out ASP then, because it are people out here, they might take a chance. I can't go out. My landlord, I had to say my landlord is a good person, because the distance she going with me as a Chinese, she had the sympathy about what's going on in the country at the time, and with me. So whoever come in, I hope they could understand when I cry them and show them what spot I is and what's going on. They could reach out and understand what help I need and how they could help me, because I as a supporter of this party 100% and more. You see it on the set, or let's see then the performance and my mind thinking what I about children, I about country, I about the government excelling and doing things in the right way. I want everything Ms. Kamala Prasad looking to do to make this country a better place. But it has sometimes people need the support of the government and even the banking sector, where it's very hard to touch and all them kind of thing. So, whoever coming Friday, I hope they could come in my business. I could see them and let them know what's going on and see what's going on, how I get hurt, how I get hurt between the COVID and thing. But I know the president, whenever she come back, Wade Mac, I don't know how long he might stay before he come in this part of town, But I know he always welcome to come to really see people, really open the arms to him, because he's a man of the East-West corridor. He from we know him from by the Crescent. He born and grew in the Crescent. His family from the Crescent. We know him. I know his family bloodline. I know Mr. Wayne Mack. I know Mr. Wayne Mack for years, from since Club 88. I know him, and I know him before that. So, we always open arms to him if he pass through at this side of town, The only thing we'd like to see him, he or the president, Excellency. So, I don't know if it's a hoops or people like to play, people are technical. I don't want to say games, but it has some people try to play technical with people, But you can't play technical with people when people crying out the heart for you all, and and that is the love we like to get back from you all, because at the end of the payday, we for you. And we fighting for you, we fighting for the betterment of this government, UNC government. Because we know then at the end of the payday, I listened to Miss Kamala Prasad in plenty function, and she about people in the business sector, and she about people, the young people who looking to succeed. She about women entirely who getting the right, taking care of and the right things, and the workforce in Trinidad and Tobago, she about that. So I believe she ministers and them supposed to understand as the leader reaching out to people and agriculture, all them kind of things. She interested about that. agriculture. She putting so much things she in agriculture. She would like that. So, Port of Spain. Port of Spain is a place, the 1% try to, with the crime situation, try to kill Port of Spain. But Port of Spain is not died. Port of Spain is still alive. It's just, we just have to smooth enough little ends of ends in Port of Spain, and the city is back again. We have a set of buildings over there where all our ministries can fit in. We don't have to take rent from other people and build other people's pockets, and and it ain't making no sense. We government could be accurate and official to knowing them people who are paying them big rents, so it could cut down some of them costs. So them costs could help me. Some of them costs could help me, and somehow try to see if they could build certain things for the poor class of people, open more jobs, do certain things, because at the end of the payday, my government had to pay so much money for rent and all them kind of things. I be watching it at all now, because sometimes when I sit down, when I thinking, my head is be swelling because I feel my head too big, my brain too big for my head, because I be watching how the system running and how the things going. So I was looking out for this thing Friday, saying yes, we finally get a breakthrough, finally get a breakthrough, finally get one little breakthrough, and we might reach somewhere between my business and everything, but I just had to stay cool for the hour because everything is up to my leaders and them, and I hoping Friday, whoever they're sending, I could reach out to them and talk to them and see what could happen, and that's about why I had to say right now, because I don't want to keep back my leader.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I left him, of course, to express emotive as he is, but I'm sure that you will see that he is extremely sincere, that he's committed, of course, to doing business, and, of course, putting food on his family's table in the process, because that is what it is all about. Otherwise, what's the sense if you can't put food on your family's table? But let's go to the line. A pleasant good night to welcome to the corridor.
Good afternoon to you, Lennox, and to your guest there with you.
Yes, man.
I'm going to commend the young man for the stand up for, and I hope you get his support on Friday. Lennox, we have no right to remove none of them boards, they employ all the people. You understand? They sign up for all the people under them for them to get their salary. So Kamala shouldn't dismiss none of the boards. That is what one of these idiotic persons on our board said.
Yeah.
That how they shouldn't be replaced because them had to oversee the payment of people under them. And if they remove them, the people can't get paid. You ever hear foolishness like that?
Well, I mean,
And there's a well-known sycophant pastor, they call, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He on that board. So which means he was eating real food. He was working on a radio station, plus he on that board. I wonder where he used to find time to be on that board. Because he working straight through the week, and I can't see where the board is open on a weekend. That had to be a scoring board he talking about. All these individuals eating our food. And if you check at all of these institutions under the PNM, they fail miserably. And these people want to sit down there and drop here and even stay on. I would only select people who, based on merit, have the ability to do the job and stay there. But as far as I'm concerned, all them who were put there as political appointees, them should be resigning from on the 28th last month. 28th of April, we're in June now. But them still doing there. And some of them so bold-faced, they want to take the government to court. And now we have this next one, the Borat, coming out and talking us that foolishness about CPEP. Where all these people that who was losing their job in the PLM tenure, why she didn't come talk about that? 10 years now, all kind of thing happening under this PLM government and none of them are talking. Like I said, the lip guy and zip, the Novocaine God, the PIP follow them out, all of that. Now you have Gary Abu coming and talking about big pollution. So the regime before didn't know about the pollution taking place in Sharon there with all the derelict boats. He feel that them boats is somewhere in some water course in Trinidad that the minister works to go there and pick up tobacco and remove them. That is millions of us to remove them, but I agree with him in one thing. The government of this country should get legislation in place with regards to these boat owners to have them charged and let them come and remove the derelict boats from the shores of this country. Because there's no way this place should be a dumping ground. There's an ISO and pollution taking place down there, right? Because of what they're doing. And they feel they could get away, but like he said, there's a carbon footprint with the diesel, whatever they have there in those boats that lead right back to them. So let investigation take place and lock up or charge whoever they are to charge, but they have to bring the decision for those things, for them to be fined for the environmental pollution that they create in this country. Too much nonsense taking place. And if it's one thing this government should be doing is that, because it appears to me Gary Abu didn't have enough didn't have testicular fortitude to tell the last government to draft legislation like that. He wanted to do under this new government. So you see how stupid he is? And yet he was supporting them, you know. Gary Abu, boy, shame on you, yeah? Have a good night, Lennox.
Yes, indeed, yes, indeed. Well, of course, we have come to the nearing the end of the program. We just have about 2 minutes. But I want to say this. Is the most amount of phantasmagorical hogwash. Let me repeat. Is the most amount of phantasmagorical hogwash. It is almost enigmatic that such individuals who said that they went to university and etc. can be making these kinds of what I consider to be square peg and round hole arguments that are non-arguments, and at the same time exhibiting and excruciating a sense or propensity to be, of course, persons who have a glass house but pelting stone. You know what I say? I say that they have glass house and pelting stone because I heard, of course, Imsbert and Al-Rari and others I mentioned earlier about, of course, the European CPEP that he wants, of course, suddenly to have an empathy with, and, of course, suggesting that they are to be victimized. Well, I want to tell these buffoons, these fellas of convenience, memory, or put another way, their absent-mindedness knows no boundary, but they can only fool themselves because they will have to tell me how much of those persons in CPEP and own contracts and so on that came from the batch of CPEP contractors, etc., that they met in 2015 when Kamala Prasad Bisasa, the UNC, lost the election. Tell me how many of them would have been the original, since you're so self-righteous and in a state of fake indignation. Fake indignation. Tell me, how many of them? But I want to tell Imsbert, what about, of course, the former president of the central bank, Jawala Rambaran? What has happened there? What did you do to fire his tail? What did you do? You left him there. You lying son of a gun. You left him there. And suddenly, because the PNM is out of government, your people must remain there. I say to this government, be fearless, be firm, be aggressive, and get rid of these albatrosses that would remain there to undermine you because of your elastic magnanimity. Yeah, that is what they want. And just in case you don't understand what I'm saying, those sycophants and those apologists and those who pretending to be stupid and those trolls, well, why not give Trump, why did you give Trump the advice to keep all Biden's staff in the White House? Why didn't you do that? You see, you cannot fool anyone but yourselves. There is a fundamental principle in general, and I'm saying this not for the sycophants and those who have an agenda that is self-serving, and of course, always in the interest against the people of Trinidad and Tobago and against fundamental principles. The reason why you have a change of government is because the people would have been fed up or they would have been disappointed with, of course, the previous administration, and therefore they believe that the incoming one for whom they would have voted, and of course in this case voted handsomely, is some 26 seats, that they want something different. But there's a greater fundamental principle that underlies this, what I consider to be all democracies. And that is, when you change a government and there is a corresponding or concomitant change in all of the political appointees. Because that is what they are telling us, you know. This fella, Alrari and Imsbert and Penelu are telling us, keep the people and them that they appointed there. But they didn't keep the people who Kamala Prasad appointed back in 2015 there, though. But they were there because they believe that those who are in office now are backsides. They believe, but the laugh is on them, because the fundamental principle is that when a new government comes in, all political appointments must get out. Get out! And get the hell out. There will be no sympathy and no compromising. And well done, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, as you threaten them that if they make appointments after the 28th of April and they engage in contractual arrangements with whosoever, that it will be forwarded, all of them will be forwarded, including them who would have been engaged, to the fraud squad or to the police. Well done. You cannot have your cake and eat it. You lost. And the fundamental principle is very easy to comprehend for those of you who are willing, of course, to not be like these myopic, nonsensical, dunderhead, fake, and of course, maladministrators, and intellectually, of course, in decline individuals. Yeah, they're suffering, of course, from a clear case of what? Of cognitive dissonance. They believe that they're bright and that Kamala Prasad Bisesa must leave their people there to continue, of course, to eat from the spoils of the state, of the coffers of the country, and at the same time undermine the same people who have been generous to them. They believe that Kamala Prasad Bisesa, the UNC and the coalition are asses. That is what they believe. We will have none of that. The principle is that only your own people will be able to execute your policies, programs, initiatives. That is why they have to go. And that is why they're bringing their own people between 2015 and the 28th of April 2025. That is why. So it cannot be one rule for one that is acceptable and that is the norm and that is the fundamental principle. But when your turn reach, you want to have your cake and eat it. You must have them do as you say. You want to have them do as you say, but you are not prepared to do the same. You don't want to what? Reciprocate. Haul all your tails and get the hell out of these political appointed offices. That's the best advice I will give. And I could give. And of course the hogwash that Imsberg talk about what? But corporation soul and so on. What the hell that has to do with people using their moral and ethical right? And of course, resigning. What had to do with it? And worse yet, like in the case of Plebdeco, the board continues a leftover of the PNM and the firing people too. You ain't see these people mad? And we want to take in Imsberg and Penalcrew Beckers and of course Alvary and them serious. Get out of our faces. You are obsolete, you are Jurassic, and you are therefore have outlived your usefulness as a political entities, activists, and politicians. Understand that. And nobody is fooled by your histrionics and your theatrics. You're just joking. You're making a fool of yourselves by people who are fairly intelligent. And we are going to educate the population as to what you are up to. There is nothing sacrosanct about all you. A bunch of course, criminals, a bunch of brutal, evil, diabolical, and indeed barbaric individuals who see government as an opportunity to impose draconian and evil policies and programs and then go home and laugh. I remember, of course, by making that statement that there is, of course, a German expression called Schadenfreude. Schadenfreude. It is a term that the Germans use to say that there are people who relish, who bask, who enjoy hurting others. That is the PNM, a criminal enterprise. You just have to watch at Balize House and ask them where they get over $100 million suddenly in 9 years to build something that in 2015 they were owing, they were bankrupt, they were owing $5 million. Where the hell are they getting money from? And that will remain a monument as to the corruption, the nepotism, the cronyism, and of course the maladministration that never again the population must say to vote the PNM in order to manage the affairs of the country. Let them, that 13 in the 13th Parliament, led by Penelope Beckles, let them understand that their days are numbered and that it's only a matter of time before the PNM become extinct. And of course delivered to the what? To the dustbin of history in this country. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. I'll see you tomorrow on the Ground Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself, as we continue, of course, with these and other programs from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Yes, indeed. And we can make it if we try. And no doubt we are making it because we would have tried. And not only tried, we delivered. On the 28th of April, that is what occurred. I want to say, of course, express on this program or on behalf of this program, and of course, all those who are watching and have a fair understanding as to why it is that the present Prime Minister, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, has been given that award. It is called what? It is called the People's Choice Caribbean Global Leader 2025. And of course, she had to vie with, of course, even the Prime Minister of Jamaica. And indeed, a very popular prime minister as well. The prime minister of Barbados, a woman as well. But she, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, beat them all and got the award. Those who ain't like it, stuff it. Have a wonderful rest of the night once again. And see you, of course, tomorrow night as we continue with these and other issues. Oh, this is the wrong thing I want to play. I will play this again. Yes, indeed. Let's go straight to patriotism.
To surrender, it have one little thing that I want. So the treasury broke and they say that recession jamming. So no foreign countries really start migrating. They lose faith in the country, they say we gone down the drain. They say no more could we see happy times again. But the will to recover in my people like have confidence. Although many may seem to feel that I talk it nonsense. But the majority of we decide we're not going to run, because now is the time to show we patriotism. For we country facing its darkest hour. So our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever you feel to surrender, it have one little thing that I want you always remember. We could